Hey, good morning. Welcome to another 5 and Drive with yours truly. This is the Daylight Deportation edition. Daylight because I usually do these between 5:30 and 6:30 in the morning before I take my daughter to school. And today I had a little bit of reprieve on start time for some things, so I was able to take her to school, and I've got some time to kill before I actually have to be an adult and work. So you get to see me in the daylight. I'm not a vampire. Anyway, the deportation stories, I have two of them. I was almost deported twice. Both times, it's kind of funny because I was working for the U.S. military. I was over in Japan. I was never in the military. I wasn't Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, and Space Force was not around back then. But I was a GS civilian with the military. And sometimes I was attached to Air Force. I was with the Marines for a little bit. And it just kind of bounced around depending on what organization I was working with at the time. But I was never in, well, I was in uniform sometimes because we'd be somewhere and you don't want a civilian walking around in a red shirt. We've all seen Star Wars. We know what happens. So I would have fatigues on or something, but I didn't have rank and all that kind of crap. So anyway, the first time it happened, it was weird because it was in America. And my passport is an American passport. Now, I was born at a very young age. There's questions about, or at least I have questions about my actual birth, because my mother went to high school over in Germany at an art high school, and graduated from there. Now, I was born when she was 16 or 17. Logic dictates I was born over there. My birth certificate, I was born in 69, so it's like a copy of a mimeograph of something. Names have been changed, dates have been changed, all that crap. I know they made concessions back then and kind of did things that they shouldn't have maybe. So I'm not really sure where I come from, but I do have an American passport and a questionable birth certificate. But anyway, so I was in Japan working at Yokota Air Base, and I would come back stateside, usually LAX, sometimes up to Portland, and I would either pick up a parcel, a package, or a person. Usually the people were VIPs, sometimes they were dignitaries or bands or whatever, and I would just escort them over there. Usually I almost never left the airport. This time I was going to leave the airport, and so I went through the Border Patrol, Custom Immigration, whatever it was called back then, I don't know. And the gentleman checking my passport was like, "You haven't been in the States in 10 years. And I was like, "Oh, I work for the military. It's sovereign U.S. territory there. The bases that I'm on are sovereign American territory. So yes, I've been in America." He's like, "No, you haven't, blah, blah, blah." So there was some arguing going on. And he's like, "I'm going to deny your entry because it's been 10 years since you've been back." And me being stupid and me being kind of chest thumpy feeling at the moment, and after a 16-hour flight, I was just like, "Fuck you," and took my passport and threw it at him and said, "Take it, I don't care." And he got all indignant and screaming and yelling, and I started screaming and yelling, and a supervisor came, and I got to cool off in a room in the back with no windows for quite a while. And I think somebody finally came back and explained that you're supposed to come back at least, a few times, and if you don't come back in 10 years, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I never followed up on any of that. So anyway, I was almost deported from America. In Japan, again, remember, I was working for the American military. I went to renew my visa, and I went down to where I thought was the visa station at, and I was a little bit late doing it, like maybe a week or two. The guy there, if you've ever seen a Japanese samurai movie, the guy there was like, that really guttural, put my passport on the table, reached back, got a piece of paper, and handed it to me. And just pointed to the door. Okay, so I thought maybe wrong office or something, or I had to go somewhere else. And I look, and it's a map of the train station close to where we're at and where to go. So I'm sitting there on the train, and I'm looking at it, and I'm sorry, I got like 15 seconds to go, but I might be a little bit over. I'm looking at the paper, and at the moment, we're like in the subway system, and this subway system goes up and goes into a regular train line. So I'm looking at it. my Japanese reading ability sucks. I knew some city names and some station names, so I'm trying to figure it out. We hit the light, sunlight finally coming through the window, and there's English on the other side, I just noticed. So I flipped it over, and it was Regional Deportation Center. And I was like, oh, shit. And people on the train, I noticed, were looking at me because now they can see the Japanese side of it, and they're all whispering and stuff. So I got off at the next stop, and I went back to where I was at originally. And I was like, oh, God, no, I can't be deported. That's going to screw up work and everything. So I tried talking to that person again. He was not happy. Finally, somebody came over, and we were able to work things out. I did not get deported because that would have, oh man, that would have made things really rough. But the lady that helped me out told me it was very, very good that I came back, because if I went to that deportation center, that wasn't a walk-in, we give you a stamp, you come back in 2 weeks kind of thing, and we'll figure stuff out. That was a, you walk in and, you're going to sit in a little room for a while until they find you an airplane back home. So those are the 2 times I was almost deported. 5 and drive, I screwed up again. We're at 6:15. So I got a little magic remote button now. I'm just going to push that instead of trying to find the one on the screen, because I usually can't find the button no matter how hard I try. And that's a running joke now 2 weeks in a row. Anyway, love you guys. Take care. Rock the rest of the week. Have a great weekend. Hug the people you love. Tell the people you love that you love them, and all that jazz. Love you guys. Bye. My magic button's not working, so I got to push it.